You can see the main GC containers making sure that they stay up front here. Fumic right up in front, controlling the speed of the bunch. Kulhavy on his wheel, marking him all the way up.
Topeka are going to have two teams, Eric Kleinans and Jeremiah Bishop, riding in support for a second year of Alban Lecata and Christian Heineck. So they've got jobs to do here as well. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they ride out today in support of two men, Lecata, Eurosteel, who are 11th, and they're 10 minutes behind, 17 minutes off the lead. They won't want to, just as Christo said, mark them and make sure. And only one rider, just Matthijs Bierke, saying, I'm going to go with you here, so I don't think you're going to get too far down the road, off Rotary Way. They head, this is on the mountaintop, just above Hermanus, and they're all back together again there. You see there's Knox and Hector Paes-Leon, and then the Eurosteel Paiga boys, Bierkes, and with him is Philip Bass. Behind him is Henrique Avancini in the yellow jersey from Brazil.
Yeah, the group just coming back together after that brief effort on the climb from Kansai Plascon, and all back together at this point.
Yeah, the Colombian champ is looking around. You can bet they will want to get something out of this day. That is for sure.
Yeah,
they're keeping the tempo nice and high.
Looking very active there, looking around. You can see these guys, they want to get a gap. They want to establish themselves in this race.
Well, there you can't ask for a better quality of chasers. The silver medalist in Rio last year, that's Jaroslav Kulhavy, and just behind him was the gold medalist, Nino Schurter. And Centurion Vada very attentive. There's Urs Huber from Team Bulls. I wonder how Carl Platt is feeling this morning. You saw him warming up around the streets of... The accident only happened late in the day, but they were in it quite early on. Now, this is images. They're the yellow jerseys. Sturneman monitoring that yellow jersey. These are live pictures to you from stage 2 of the Absa Cape Epic.
Yeah, so after the first water point and starting to go up. We just saw Kulhavy and Sauser, they're in the bunch and represent. Slightly dangling off the back.
220-meter climb. Philip Bass digging deep there with Matthijs Bierke. He didn't win the World Cup. Julian Absalon won that, I think, after he'd won his Olympic title and his world title. He took a bit of a breather for the final round of the World Cup, and Julian Absalon was able to take that. Fumic and Avancini, what a week they're having for Cannondale Factory Racing. A quite supreme performance in the prologue. And then yesterday, well, people may say, well, they were a bit lucky to win yesterday. You don't get lucky in winning a stage race. You keep yourself in the right position, and they were right there with Investec Songo Specialized. If something happens, you take advantage and you take the win, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. They had to stay in contention. There's Sturneman now just easing up into the back of Nino Schurter's wheel.
Yeah, I think the leading team yesterday, they didn't make any mistakes. They played it safe, and they didn't really put any cards on the table, just trying to stay with the front of the group.
Matthijs Sturneman, 26-year-old. His sister is a former Eliminator world champion, Catherine Sturneman. And this man is certainly one of the best young mountain bikers around. He was second at the Swiss Championships to that man, the world champion. So get too close to the riders. Here we go. Back with that lead group. Now, Nino Schurter has put himself on the front with Matthijs Sturneman. You want to wind it up a bit?
Yes, Nino definitely, he was on the back through the single track section, but I think these guys are now working together here. It's almost more like a road pace line going and rotating the workload to try and stay away.
Sturneman does a little effort on the front. Through comes Manuel Fumic, and just staying on this very smooth little flick of the elbow there from Fumic, saying to his partner, Avancini, your turn. I was going to say, it's going to be very tricky here. The road isn't as smooth as a tar road, so you've got to, whilst trying to keep that pace high, you've got to be very aware of where you are and what you're riding towards.
Yeah, this type of terrain is obviously Kulhavy will be in his element once he hits this flat section, and
they know it, don't they?
And they definitely they're aware of that, and that's why you see them really putting a hammer down.
You saw the bike there just positioning itself behind there. Wayne Ellis dragging himself behind this group, and then giving the cameraman Pierre an opportunity to get the picture. You can see the wind farms, and that is in fact parallel with Caledon, so it's not too far.
Definitely not too far from here, and these guys will...
Conversation in that group at some stage. There it is. Now they're
we
closing in, aren't they? They are closing in, and every likelihood that they'll catch them before they reach the outskirts of Caledon.
Sure, shows you the power of the Investec Songo Specialized team and really closing this gap down after they left the single track.
Incredible pursuit, if you like, time trial mode for Sousa and Kulhavy.
Harsh and tests the bike to the limit.
Now, interesting here, are Sousa and Kulhavy going to just let them dangle for a bit up front there? And whether that group certainly is slowing, that's for sure.
So they've hit the star section here, and then it'll be interesting to see if we can get pictures from the front here to see if these guys are actually trying to keep the gap, or if they are trying to. They're definitely trying to go for this. They're not sitting up here.
Yeah, now they're back on it again. Little short section of tar, and then what appears, they're looking at our map here, to be some more single track as they close in on the Caledon. This is the outskirts of Caledon. Away goes Schurter. Yeah, they're inside the last couple of kilometers of this race. Fumic is with him. Avancini is there. He just can't. He nods his head. He says, "You get in there. I can't." Fantastic culmination to this shortened stage in the Absa Cape Epic. They're all together now. Leaders, Cannondale Factory Racing in the yellow jersey. Second place, Sousa and Kulhavy, Investec Songo Specialized. Little truce called now. Let's have a drink, guys, because it's going to be full gas from now on in as we go to the finish. Wonderful racing. And the other team, of course, Scott Stram, Nino Schurter, and his partner Matthias Tournament.
There are amazing pictures we're getting here now. It's almost like a classic road race that's going on. We've got Nino Schurter is moving down the field, and Tournament at the front, just waiting for his team and what's the plan, what are they going to do. We've got Fumic in the front here, and they've got the other teams on their backs. They don't really need to attack
Fumic now on the front, Schurter keeping him honest, and behind him here comes the train, Jaroslav Kulhavy and Christoph Sousa. There's plenty of experience race nous here as well.
Yeah, so these three teams definitely the strongest strongest teams in the field at this year's race, and proving that to us even on this short stage that they're the three top teams to watch.
First time since they've joined the group that Kulhavy and Sousa have gone to the front of this group now.
See all of these guys constantly checking each other, seeing if anyone's going to make a move.
Well, the change in the route, they might not be that familiar with how this race is going to end, but that's part of mountain biking. You have got to be so tactically aware.
Again, fantastic imagery off the bike here. We can really get a sense of how fast these guys are going and how much effort they're putting in.
Fumic, all focus. He's a man with a great sense of humor and a sense of fun, but he's all about racing here now. Sousa, Kulhavy, Schurter, the world champion, the Brazilian champion, Enrique Avancini, and the young Swiss rider, Matthias Sternemann, and the slightly older man, Stefan Sam.
Slightly older, I'm sure he's still very good on the bike.
He is super strong. He loves it. He loves this job, I can tell you that. He loves being in the thick of the action without having the stress and strain of worrying about the racing. He sits off the back there, brings us images, not only live, but of course in our highlights programs each evening.
Yeah, a man with a lot of insight into the sport of mountain biking and really understands the tactics and the racing element of it, and the perfect guy to have on that e-bike up at the front.
So they drop onto a little bit of farm road track. I reckon this is the section that will lead them to the finish. Realized that his partner was in distress, so Kulhavy and Sousa disappeared off the front.
Looks like Fumic should be getting back on with his teammate here, and then it'll be interesting to see if they work together now to try and catch it. Investec Songo Specialized up front.
Well, this is the leader. This is Investec Songo Specialized Sousa, and just ahead Kulhavy heading towards the finish here. Kulhavy, of course, a two-time winner of the Absa Cape Epic with Christoph Sousa, who has won 36 stages of this race, an incredible record. Completed 11 races and has won it 5 times. We hope we can bring you those images as they close in on the finish for Kulhavy. He is looking at a 10th Absa Cape Epic stage win here, and that is great prestige for them, but of course they're looking to just nip out a few more seconds of that lead held by Cannondale Factory Racing on the general classification.
Yeah, with the Cannondale Factory Racing having just under 3 minutes in the bag, they should still hold on to the yellow jersey at this point, but it might all come back together here.
Yeah, I mean, Schurter is emptying his tank to pull them a little closer. That gap, it's only 50-60 meters. Schurter is on the limit, and so are the other riders. There's nothing being held back here as they skirt the upper reaches of Caledon and will head into the Botanical Gardens now.
Yeah, Schurter doing a lot of work for this group, trying to drag them back to the leaders.
They'll be looking over their shoulders. Is it going to come down to a 3-team sprint or Kulhavy? Look at the gap closing down. Schurter is dragging them closer and closer all the time.
See Schurter accelerating out of that corner, shooting up to Christoph's wheel.
Like a slingshot out of the bend as he drags them closer. Now that it's all on, yellow jerseys seemingly back in the thick of things here as they charge down. Sharp right-hander, no mistakes here. All safely round. Avancini, Sterneman and Fumic are the men at the back of that group. Schurter dragging himself up. He's right up there now. What he'll want is Sterneman to try and get himself close. Every time they go into a corner, Concertinas brings them closer. There they are. They're all together again. And it's going to be these 3 teams fighting it out. They're into the grounds of the Botanical Gardens now. It could not be more dramatic as they finish the shortened stage of the Absa Cape Epic here in Caledon. Now we're trying to get a picture as to where the actual finish is.
Still looks like Invesic Songo Specialized positioning themselves right up front.
Yeah, they've got a man up there, and all they have
slight
to do,
mistake in the corner there.
Gone. There goes Schurter. Sauza's lost a bit of time. Sterneman needs to try and get past Sauza. It's not going to happen, I don't think. It's going to be Christoph Sauza and Jaroslav Kulhavy who will take the win. Schurter did all he could. They'll take 2nd place. And Manuel Fumic and Ulrich Avancini will take it 3rd. What a dramatic